And we are live. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Level Up Live. I am Dr. Sharita Gaskins Tillett. I am your host. We have a real treat for you this evening. I'm just going to give a few minutes for everybody to get in, and then I will introduce our guest. Actually, I'm going to actually have her introduce herself. That's what we're going to do tonight. Um, but anyway, if you are watching live, please say hi in the comments. If you are watching the replay, hashtag replay. And just as a reminder, registration is still open for our spring retreat, a weekend for me. It's going to be held March 24th through 26th in Cambridge, Maryland. You can get more information at www.aweekendforme.com. Also, feel free to DM me if you have my number, call me, whatever. I'm happy to answer questions. All right. So, our guest this evening is Dr. Ngozi Ude, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. Good evening. Welcome, Dr. Ngozi.
Oh, thank you so much. This is such a blessing. It's exciting. Thank you. So I guess as introduction, for those that don't know me, I'm Dr. Ude. I'm board certified in family medicine. I'm based in Martinsburg, West Virginia. I own a primary care practice, Apple Valley Family Medicine, and I also practice aesthetics. And so, with those two modalities, my goal is to have my patients and clients not only feeling good, but looking good as well.
Wonderful. So, now tell us how you came to be a physician. What brought you into medicine?
Oh, that's a good one. To be honest with you, ever since I could remember, I've always wanted to be a physician. I can't say the one thing because even my parents say from when I was four or six, I was saying it. But I would say it's definitely a meld of science for me and helping people. And so it's just for me, it's that sweet spot.
Yeah, I understand that. I think I would probably say the same. So,
Mhm.
how'd you come to choose family medicine?
I couldn't pick one thing. So
So, you
that's
do a little of it all?
That's literally what happened. So when I did, my rotations in medical school, the first 2 weeks was always like, "Ooh, this is so exciting," and then the last 2 weeks was like, "Where's the rest of it?" So I was always so excited about every rotation, but I always missed something else. So it's just I love it. It's a meld of everything. For me, I never get bored with it. It's awesome, and um the way I have it at, my practice where we do walk-ins, it's never a dull moment. You never know what you're going to get. So I love
Yeah,
it.
box of chocolates, huh?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And so, family medicine in Martinsburg, West Virginia. How long have you been doing this?
It's at least 10 years or more. I haven't thought about that in a while, but it's been at least 10 years. So
Okay.
I love it. Yeah.
All right. And so, you're seeing a variety of patients. What kinds of things do you treat?
So, I mean, since, with primary care, I see from newborns all the way up to geriatrics. So we're basically the first point of contact for patients. And so, from coughs and colds to sexual dysfunction to depression, anxiety to diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, hypothyroid, you name it. Yeah. Weight loss also, medical weight loss.
Okay. Wow. You run the gambit, huh? And the best part, well, not necessarily the best part, but a very interesting part as well is your aesthetics practice. So tell us a little bit about how you decided to make that shift, or I guess add that on as a vertical.
So for me, it was a creative outlet. I think that's the way I,
Mm,
because with medicine, a lot of the stuff we do is obviously serious and as it should be. And so for me, it was a way to still make people happy, but also to be creative. I do things like Botox and filler, and so it's to me, it's like an art where you're kind of, you don't do one case the same, so
sure.
you're and assessing and making sure that you're getting that right result for the patient or client. So that's why I brought it in.
Okay. And so tell us the procedures that the aesthetic procedures that you do.
So I do, because there's a plethora out there. What I do is I do Botox, I do filler, I do body sculpting. So we do have the True Sculpt 3D. I do lasers. So our laser hair removal for our patients that and clients that have unwanted hair they want taken care of. We do laser genesis, which is the rejuvenation procedure of the face. I do smart lipo, which is also another body sculpting procedure. So and then we also do peels as well. So it's a variety and gamut of procedures that I offer.
Okay. Now, as a business person, did you find that this was a lucrative area for you to go into to help the practice?
Yes. So the reason I actually brought it on wasn't necessarily the revenue part because the primary care actually does really well. So I think for me, what it was just that creative outlet, but it is a good vertical.
What kind of additional training did you need?
So I did well when I did my training with the one of the doctors that I trained with. That's how I got the exposure. Was doing this as well, and then I also did some certifications and also worked with other doctors that were doing this. So I mean, with being a physician, we have our medical training, and then there are definitely certifications that you can go to get trained on this.
Sure. So, what's your favorite procedure to do and why?
I don't know if I would say favorite. Is there a favorite one? I think the ease and just the big difference that patients get with Botox.
Hmm.
I think that's a big one. That and I would say filler because it's just Botox. You still have to wait, 3 to at least 3 days to see the result when it kicks in, but filler is right away. So I was
Okay.
between the two. Yeah.
So now I know you focus on preventive care with your patients, and you also focus on self care. Tell us a little bit about how you counsel the patients, what it is that you help them with.
So, that is definitely a loaded question because I pretty much I could even call it coaching. I pretty much talk to my patients, especially my female patients, every day about self-care and taking care of themselves. Because a lot of my patients, when they come in, they may not come in and say, "Hey, I'm not, getting time to myself and putting myself first." They might say something like, "Hey, doc, I'm anxious," or they'll talk about, being overwhelmed, or when I run through and do the history, you find out how many hats they're juggling. And so a lot of the times, the root of the issue is just they're not taking any time for themselves. A lot of that time is devoted to, their loved ones, their children, their partner, their elderly parents. And so they don't make or carve out any time for themselves. And I think that why this kind of hits home for me is because I kind of had the same issue. I mean, I'm still juggling, but so much better now that I realize what the issue is. And so what I do is first of all shed some light on because a lot of times they'll say I'm not stressed. I don't understand why. And so by the time I say, well, you're working, 40 to 60 hours a week, you have 2 or 3 small children, you still have to, you have, elderly parents you're taking care of. So kind of bringing that to the forefront. And it's not selfish to take care of yourself because a lot of times, you know, the moms feel guilty about taking time to themselves, and I'm like, it's not unselfish to do that because if you are not doing okay, I mean, you can't really perform at your best.
Right, right. Yeah, you have to fill your cup before you can help anyone else. But I think what makes it so difficult is that in our society, it's kind of normal. I call it, we have an epidemic of self-neglect.
Right.
And it's just normal for us, especially as women, to really not pay attention to anything that's going on with us and just give and give and give beyond our capacity. and then we find ourselves very depleted, but then not even recognize that we're in a depleted state. So
it. And then it's like, oh, well, there's something wrong with me. No, sweetheart, you need to get some rest. You need to put yourself first and then take care of those important people and areas in your life. So, yes.
So how do you convince them to take care of themselves? Because what I find oftentimes is when I talk with women who clearly, could use a break, they'll say, "Well, I can't do that. I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't have that." Like there's a long list of why they can't take care of themselves, and it's as though they cannot see their value and the value in, building themselves up so that they can actually perform better for their family or for their employment and certainly for themselves.
Absolutely. So usually the first thing I point out is, well, what you're doing now, is it working? What's the alternative if you keep doing it the way you're doing it? Right. So if it's not working, then at least try something different. But a lot of the times it's just that shedding that light on it, that, hey, this is what's going on. These are the many things that you're doing. And then sometimes it's also that because there's so many things that feed into it. One of it is, I always talk about being proactive. I talk about, taking care of themselves as far as physical activity, nutrition. And so some of the concern also is, hey, where am I going to incorporate all these things? So one of it is, letting them know, hey, try something different. And usually it's well received. And then the other thing is, pick one. You don't have to do all of it, but pick one and start there. And if you like, I can go through what I usually tell them, but that's usually
Sure.
what I have for them. Yes.
What do you usually tell them?
Oh, okay. So the first one is being proactive. So I found that this was something for the longest time that I never did, and it was that whole thing of looking at your schedule ahead of time.
Hmm.
This is so simple, but it's such a game changer.
Yeah.
Um, I used to drop a lot of things as far as, children's schedules and different things. And between running a business, having a family, having a spouse, and all other things, you have to have, a system. So being proactive is one, looking at the schedule ahead of time for the week, and then also the day before. And so that's one of the advice that I do give my patients. And then the other thing is, as far as, what are what are the boundaries that you set up for yourself? So for me personally, I love, what I do. I love taking care of my patients, but I also have a side of me as far as with my family that I need to. So if I'm not careful and I don't make sure that I'm making my schedule in such a way that, my family is also taken care of, I'm also going to get burned out and run down. So
Yeah.
that's the thing I ask them. I'm like, do you have a set time that you're working? Because a lot of people are working from home. And so what I tell them is, act like you're working, outside the home if it makes
Yeah.
a difference, and so schedule that time when you get up, have a set time that you work and then a set time that you leave it. Um, Another big one that I mentioned is, who do you surround yourself with?
Mm.
If you have people around you or allow people in your space that deplete your energy, that's not good. You want people that are going to feed into you and you know energize you, if you will.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. I agree with you that you need to be intentional about caring for yourself and be conscious. And you're right. You're talking about things that are easy to do, but it's also easy not to do those things. That's the thing. And if you're trying to change your life, it's
Mhm.
actually pretty difficult because you get into a pattern, you get into a habit, and it's really challenging to kind of turn that ship and
Mm,
to go on another course.
absolutely. Start with the first step, and then the other things I talk to them about also is, then the physical things like, obviously nutrition, high protein, um, low carb diet, making sure that you're hydrating well, making sure that you're sleeping, making sure that you're exercising. A lot of these things people have heard before. And just like you said, they're easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. And so I stress those things with my patients. And then the one big thing that I do talk about in this scenario is also that importance of me time. You have to have
Yeah.
time by yourself to process your thoughts and just kind of unplug and unwind. That's a big.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really underrated in our society, because again, we just go, 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 go. There's always something. I tell my daughter about when I was younger and TV ended. I don't know if you may not be as old as I am, but TV used to go off
That's
at
it.
about
It
midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. TV went off. There was no more TV.
that's
We have this 24-hour news cycle. Everything is just go, 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 go. And there's not any real downtime built into our society as it is. And so, unless you make a conscious effort to give yourself that time, you won't have it. And then it's very easy to not realize that you're not, even checking in with yourself. You can go, 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 go for weeks without even checking in to see, am I okay? What's going on around me?
that.
Because we're just, meeting the next need and the next need and the next need.
The other one is even phones. I mean, you can watch,
Oh
you
gosh.
and I think that's really what's changed everything is it's just in your palm of your hand. So you could do all
Right.
just like you said, it's so easy to access that you could just lay in bed and scroll and scroll. So yeah,
And you look, in 3 hours have passed.
right. That,
If you are not careful.
right.
There are all kinds of rabbit holes to go down.
That's it. Tons.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's the phones and the internet.
Yes.
And the other thing with the phones I find is a lot of what feeds a lot of people is being around their friends and their family and interacting. But a lot of times you will see a group of people all sitting together, all on the phone.
True. It's true. It is so true. You know what? What I started doing that has helped a ton is when I'm on date night with my partner, no phones. Once in a while, somebody might sneak something, but we literally shut the phones off just so that, you don't end up doing that. Same thing with the kids, no devices. It stays in the car. We're all going to be, with my teenager, it's this point of, I can't just look at it while we're waiting for the food. Nope, you can talk to me. And he gets so mad sometimes, but yes, absolutely. Hmm. Okay, we go. So,
Okay, I think we're back.
I know. I think we got lost.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I don't know. I think it was on my end because it said that I
Oh,
lost my
sorry.
connection. So I'm so sorry about that, Dr. Uday. I'm sorry about that, guys. I guess we'll pick up where we left off. I think you were talking.
Yeah. What was I talking about?
Well, I know we were talking about self-care, so we'll
There.
just pick
I
up.
was.
Well, actually, I think we were talking about how people, will be sitting together in a group and they're all on their phones and not interacting with one another. I think that was the last thing we were kind of talking about.
I think I was talking about my son and how upset he gets with me sometimes when I tell him to put his phone away, and I do it anyway. So it's
Yeah,
just he's like, be on my phone while we wait for the food. No, you can talk to me, and he doesn't like that, but it's okay. So I
yeah,
literally insist. But
yeah.
yes.
Well, I think it's important.
Hmm.
It's important that we have interaction with each other. It's important that we model good behavior for our children so that they understand the value of human interaction because they're coming up in a time when they don't know, when they don't know a time without these phones and these devices and all of these distractions.
That's it. We get sucked in, and there's just it's so easy. The book I'm reading right now, the Atomic Habits, and it's just those habits that are. They always say the stuff that is really easy to do, you get sucked into, and it's just the access, having the phone right there, you just get sucked in. So if you're not careful, um, before you know it, it's an hour, 2 hours gone. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then what advice do you give to your patients as far as that is concerned, with screen time and phones and those kinds of things? Because I know they interfere with sleep for sure.
Absolutely.
And also, they can negatively impact your mental health because, everybody, I saw a meme the other day that I thought was very appropriate. It says that people, look at the internet and they're comparing other people's highlight reels to their real life.
That's it. That's
And
it.
so, you people are really dealing with a lot of comparitis and feeling inferior and depression and other things when they're seeing those images. So how do you help your patients deal with those kinds of issues?
Just to tell them that we're all going through the same thing, because I have the same issues where I'm definitely working on trying to stay off my phone,
Yeah,
because I schedule, everything's on my phone, my calendar, everything's on there. So what I've started doing recently that has worked, and I share that with them, is when I get home, I actually put my phone to charge by my bed while I'm in the kitchen, because usually when we get home is dinner, so it's away from me. And so having those times when you're spending with family and staying off your devices at that time. The other advice is, when you're out and about with your family, like we're out to eat or stuff like that, that would be an opportunity to stay off your phone. That um, mention of proactivity, being proactive, it's the same thing. So a lot of the times we get on the devices if we don't have anything planned. So
right,
especially the weekends, to me, are it's hard to get your, have your keep your kids occupied. That's part of it. So when you have things planned, we're gonna do this, we're gonna go here, we're gonna have this activity, we're gonna do this, then you're less likely to be on your device.
right,
um and so those are the actionable advice that I do give them. And then that comparitis you're talking about, yes, we do talk about that. And just to let and I just make it plain as day. When you're taking a picture, you're smiling, you're putting on
yeah,
your nice fit, you're posing in a way that looks, um, the best. And so once you're done, you're back to your whatever is the real for you. So if you're looking at
right,
somebody, that does not mean that that is how they're feeling at that time.
yeah.
You know, so the other time is taking a break from it. It really truly is a problem. It really is. It is. So we talk about it all the time, but it's taking breaks and putting stops in your day, especially when you're spending that one-on-one with your family. Um, the other one I tell them is making sure that somehow you're getting quality time with the kids. That's actually something I'm trying to
Yeah.
practice. And so my time, dinner time, getting things set up is my time with the kids. The other one I do is for my exercise because I don't have time to go to the gym. I do YouTube videos and things. So I play videos and dance with my girls.
Oh,
And
that's
that's
fun. That's habit stacking, right?
there you go. You got it. So two and
Yeah,
one there. So
exactly.
yeah, I do tell
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So tell me, you hit on this a little bit, but what do you do for your own self-care?
Oh, yes. Okay. So for me, it's I've been doing my morning routine is making sure that I'm getting up. I split it up a little bit. My ideal situation would be to make sure that I'm reading, which I do every day. I meditate and pray. I am Christian, so I do pray in the morning. I have a little devotion I do in the morning. Sometimes I exercise in the morning. A lot of the times, I'm just kind of running around in the morning. So I do it in the evening. So my self care routine is making sure that there are a few things that I'm doing every day. One of them is my prayer meditation. The other one is exercise. I either, if I have time to fit it in the morning, or I do it in the evening with my girls. Obviously, making sure that I'm spending quality time with my children. And so sometimes, just like you said, I'll stack them together and do a 30-minute workout with my girls. On my way into work, I'm usually listening to something uplifting. As we know, inspiration expires.
Yeah.
So stay inspired. So I'm either reading my book that I want to read for the week, or I'm listening to something uplifting. Um, for me, I am an introvert, so I do have to have time to myself. So whatever's going on, I will have some me time to kind of unplug, and kind of write my thoughts if there's anything pertinent that I need to do. And so that's my routine. And then I schedule vacations and little meetups and things like that. And definitely, I have a date night with my husband at least once a week. So that's it.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're being very intentional about your self-care. I do wonder, how often do you have that me time? Is that something that you build into every single day?
I have to. I mean, for me, having that alone time, it's, and it doesn't have to be anything, grand, I just have to have at least 30 minutes to an hour by myself to process. So sometimes it's as small as, hey, I'm just, in the doing a self-care routine, maybe
Yeah.
getting my face done or my nails done, or sometimes if I have like a downtime because I'm off every other Friday, I'll go and have a lunch, and take myself out to lunch. Before COVID, my thing was always to go to the movie theater. I would do it by
Ah, okay.
I would do a matinee in the middle of the day. There's nobody else in the theater, put my feet up and just watch a movie. I do that now. But once the kids are up, I'll go down to the basement and spend some me time. Sometimes have a glass of wine. So for me, it's in the little things. It's, I definitely incorporate it in my day to day for sure.
Excellent. Well, we're
Yeah.
almost out of time. And so I just have one final question for you. If there was one single best thing that you would recommend that someone does to uplevel their self-care, what would it be?
Um, I would definitely say, I'd probably say two. One is me time because I can't do without it. And it's just time to unplug and, I guess, assess your thoughts. That's one. And then the other one, as far as self care, is who you surround yourself with. So be very intentional about who you surround yourself with as far as self care, because if you have the wrong people around you, to me, it doesn't really matter what you do. If they're not adding to your energy and they're taking away from your energy, then I feel like it affects everything. So those would be the two things I would say.
No, you're absolutely right. And they say you become like the people that you spend the most time around. And
You
so,
got it.
if you're spending time around, I call them vampires. If you're spending time around the energy vampires, they're not going to leave you with very much for yourself.
And it's just you overwork to try to make up for that difference. So just make sure that you are putting the right people around you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely, well, that I am all about the me time. Hence a weekend for me that we're having, as I mentioned, in March. And that was actually born out of something that I discovered in myself after I was a wife and a mother, is that I really needed time to myself. I was telling somebody the other day that just going to like Home Goods or Marshalls in those early days of motherhood felt like heaven. I felt so free and unencumbered. I didn't have responsibilities for like 15 minutes or whatever. And it felt amazing. And that's, those are the kind of things that help you realize, wait a minute, I do need a little bit of time to myself to think about the things that I want to do, or think whatever thoughts I want to have, because sometimes when you're so bogged down in taking care of people or doing, chores or whatever, you just don't have that time to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
remember me intern year, I remember being on call was relaxing.
Ah. Well, I actually had a partner who would sleep at the hospital whenever she was on call. Like, she just made that her practice, whether we needed to be there or not. She just slept at the hospital because that way she knew she wouldn't have any home responsibilities, and
I
she could
hear you.
just get a little rest.
That's when you know.
But again, I think we have to, stop this whole self-neglect thing and normalize taking care of ourselves, and understand that it is not selfish. In fact, it is selfish to not take care of yourself, because you're not going to be at your best,
That's
and
it.
you're not going to
They're,
have as much to offer.
they're gonna
So,
get you. Yeah, I agree.
yeah. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's
Thank.
been a pleasure. Tell the people that are watching, especially, we may have somebody in Martinsburg, West Virginia. You never know. Tell them how they can find you.
Awesome. Thank you. So you can find me online. Our practice is www.applevalleyfamilymed.com. And I have a podcast, Weekly Dose with Dr. Ude. It's on iTunes, Spotify, and also on YouTube by the same name, Weekly Dose with Dr. Ude. And we have a Facebook page for our practice, Apple Valley Family Med, and a lot medicine, and a lot of our videos are on there. So definitely reach out. But thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. So thank you for joining us this evening. Again, registration's open for a weekend for me. Get that self-care and that me time that everybody needs. www.aweekendforme.com. I will see you all next week. Thank you, Dr. Uday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.